Thanks for joining us on the Page One podcast. I'm your host, Luke Peters, CEO of Newer Appliances. And in this episode, we're honored to have Brian Beck back again to discuss all things Amazon. We're going to talk about how to improve your product reviews, how to improve your product roadmap ideas, other strategies with Amazon. And then we're even going to hear a specific success story with all the sales growth numbers and probably make us all jealous that we weren't growing faster on our Amazon account. Before we get started with Brian though, just quick announcement. You guys have heard this before. If there are any vacation homeowners out there and you really want to help a good cause, check out vetcation.org. And what we're doing is we're matching up veterans and veteran families who really are in need of a family vacation. We match them up with your vacation home. It's an awesome thing. I've been doing it with my own place. And you won't regret that you got started there. So again, check it out, vetcation.org, or you can just contact me and I can kind of share more of the details about it. Awesome. So Brian, welcome to the Page One podcast. You're on previously, so thanks again for coming back. And why don't you kind of just start with a quick introduction?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Luke. I'm thrilled to be here. And that sounds like a cool vacation home thing, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah, no worries. Great to be back. Luke, thanks for having me. Brian Beck's my name. Just by way of brief introduction, I've been in the e-com field for, 22 years. Just makes me old. I started in 1999. Crazy. Most of my career, Luke, was as an operator of businesses. I was the vice president of e-commerce at several companies. Harbor Freight Tools, you might know of. Pacific Sunwear, California, a couple of others. And so I was on the consumer side for a long time, Luke, and in the last few years, I've been very focused on the companies that are in the B2B segment, and so helping them to digitally transform and enable e-commerce for their business. I'm the author of a book called Billion Dollar B2B Ecommerce, which is a playbook for manufacturers and distributors in the B2B space. I'm also a managing partner of a company called SIBA, and in SIBA, we enable companies to sell, particularly branded manufacturers, to sell their products on Amazon successfully and capitalize on everything Amazon's doing. So that's me, Luke.
Awesome. Good introduction, Brian. And I know you work with, smaller clients, bigger clients, I think up over $1 billion. Give us like the basic footprint of the company and team members. So, everybody has and we're talking about SIBA here, right? Would be the name.
Talking about SIBA. Yeah, that's right. So, cool. And by the way, SIBA, the name, people always ask me this question, where does it come from? It comes from the SIBA tree, CEIBA, which is the tallest tree in the Amazon rainforest, right? So we help our clients stand out in the rainforest. That's our goal.
Cool.
Our footprint, we're over 20 people now. We are everyone's based here in the U.S. across the United States. Our headquarters is in California currently, although we are one of those companies moving to Arizona.
Oh, nice.
State. Yeah, just for a bunch of reasons, but we're in the process of doing that. But yeah, we have folks. Today is everyone's working remotely, but we have full facilities, and we do everything from the content management on Amazon to the advertising management to 1P to 3P shifts and really a whole lot of things, helping companies to get into Amazon, build their business. So I'm excited to share some case studies with you today as well.
That is cool. And of course, read between the lines on the move. I've been to Arizona quite a bit though. Are you moving kind of to the Scottsdale area or?
That's right.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. It's beautiful. People who don't know the area, it's really pretty, except for about 2 or 3 months of the year. But, other than that.
That's why they invented air conditioning.
That's true. And we sell them, by the way, at Newer.
There you go.
Yeah. That's great. And tell me a little bit, when SIBA works with clients, you got about 20 team members. You guys are experts based in the U.S. All the team members here. Are you guys actually running the whole Amazon business for your clients, or are you interacting with, say, their Amazon account manager and helping them run it better? How does that look?
Yeah, great question. And kind of our clients. I can give you some kind of feeling for this. I mean, a lot of them are mid-size, some very large businesses that are, these companies a lot of them have products that are, well established in their field. They may have brands. They may be looking to introduce new products into the market through Amazon. But, what we do is we go in and we help them to, number one, gain control of Amazon. What happens with a lot of these companies, Luke, is they haven't proactively controlled Amazon. The Amazon will control them. What I mean by that is, the companies will, resellers or other folks will come in and sell their products. And, product manufacturers Amazon's become so prominent that product manufacturers really want to make sure they understand what's happening. Amazon's become a search engine. So we're running the program for these companies, really every aspect of it. We're helping them almost as an outsourced Amazon department. And we always start with the strategy, right? What's the right approach to Amazon for a brand? Because there's different ways to sell on Amazon. There's different tools you can use. There's actually multiple approaches you can use to maximize your Amazon presence. And so you've got first party or vendor central selling. You've got third party or seller central selling. You can authorize resellers on your products. If you're, you can partner with a couple of your retailers or distributors or dealers to sell on Amazon if you're worried about channel conflict. But we help companies think about all those things. And a lot of our clients are they've been in business for 100 or 200 years in some cases. They're well-established brands in their market, and they sell through a lot of other channels too. They sell through retailers, Home Depot and Lowe's and big box retail. They have their own e-commerce, so they're thinking about how Amazon fits into the overall picture, and we help them get through that. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, and I know what I'm going to ask you is kind of a loaded question. We can get in more of the detail later because I know there's a lot of reasons to go 3P or 1P, but right now, what is the, off the top of your head, the percentage of your clients that are selling third party versus first party, and what is the trend overall? I know there's a lot of reasons why to do one versus the other, but is there just an overarching reason? Because I see more people going the third party, Brian. That's why I'm asking. Even our competitors, and our stuff's big. It's kind of like a pain in the butt to do third party. Just because of the shipping requirements and costs, and it can't even go FBA. You got to have a distributed 3PL. So just curious what you have and where you're seeing the market going.
Well, it's a great question. Amazon itself is, the trend within Amazon itself is to shift companies over towards 3P. In fact, Bezos talks about it on earnings releases, how much, third party is doing better than first party in terms of its volumes and things. So Amazon itself within Amazon, there's a trend of a shift, but towards third party. But even outside of Amazon, if you look at these, and we do a lot of work with brands that are looking to either introduce hybrid programs where they've sold 1P for many years and they've run across some pain points, which we can go into if you want. But and then they're looking at alternatives, and one of the key alternatives there is 3P. And Luke, some of these folks, I was on the phone earlier this morning with a company that's doing $20 million in Amazon 1P revenue right now. So this is a big seller, a good sized seller, and a well recognized brand in their category. And look, they want to move over to 3P because of a whole variety of reasons. And ultimately, Amazon wants to keep these brands on their marketplace. So they want to. Amazon is to some degree accommodating that shift, but brands are doing it because they want price control. They want to control the resale. They want to control inventory. They want to be able to quickly introduce new products into Amazon. And now, when you think about where does it not make sense, big bulky product. We work with a very large $7 billion buildings product manufacturer, Luke, and very well known in their space. And these guys are enabling distributors on the channel to actually do the fulfillment and actually capture the sale while they control the content. And that's important because they want to make sure they present the right content on Amazon. While, they're not set up to actually handle the distribution of the product. This is, they're shipping pallets of roofing material.
Yeah,
you can't put that in FBA, right?
Yeah.
So that's, but in general, to answer your question, 20% of our clients have 1P programs, and 80% of them have either blended or 3P only programs. Or in some cases, we have fully shifted $2, $3, $4 million programs from 1P to 3P. And that's a trend we see happening more and more.
Yeah, and I've seen the same thing. So that is, and it's going to be really interesting now with inflation potentially starting out. People have pricing power on 3P, so there could be some benefits there as well. Why don't we move on to another interesting thing? I mean, just in the whole Amazon ecosystem, there's all these roll-ups happening. With companies like Thrasio. I know you're helping brands that are really focused on growing their companies and their larger companies. And a lot of these roll-ups are smaller, maybe products or small FBA sellers or mid-size. Yep. But still, what are your thoughts on it? And maybe how are you advising clients on this, if at all?
Right. It's a really interesting trend, Luke. I see. And in fact, I know one of the founders of one of the roll-up companies is a colleague of mine. So I'm pretty close to in terms of what is happening in that market, and what the value. I mean, look, at the end of the day, at risk of offending my friend, I think I think this is financial engineering a little bit. And what I mean by that is, you look at these companies like Thrasio, and they're onto something which is really interesting. These small sellers don't have any real scale to their business. The small, I mean, they may be doing a few $1 million in Amazon sales, and they reach a point where they can't get any bigger. They run into operational challenges. They're not, there's a need to professionalize the business. And so, they pick them up at, 2 to 3, 4x EBITDA, EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, amortization. So Thrasio buys these companies and others like Thrasio, and then they put them into their model, and they're raising money at the 10x multiple. So, you take a business which is they're buying at 2, 3, 4 times EBITDA, and then you put it into a business that then suddenly is valued at 10x EBITDA. They get an immediate return on investment, right? And then they professionalize the business. They bring in professional, management for, merchandising, marketing, operations, sourcing, product development. So all that makes sense. But I don't think this is sustainable. I think these businesses are overvalued. It's my opinion. I think I think that it's very limited because you're focusing on one channel, Amazon, right? There's a lot of risk in focusing only on one channel. And if I look at our client base, these are companies that have been in many channels for many years. Some of them are newer companies that are still in multiple channels. I think at the end of the day, a manufacturer needs to differentiate on product, not on channel. And I think where these businesses could do well is if Thrasio and others really expand their channel mix, get into other channels like retail, distribution, their own e-commerce, et cetera. Maybe they're doing that. But at the end of the day, to me, this is near-term financial engineering. I think you'll see a couple of these companies succeed, but only if they really pursue the multi-channel strategy and not just rely on Amazon. And this is coming from a guy who's I was going to say, I was going to say it's a very honest comment, but that's a true comment. I bet your biggest clients who are diversified and selling to Home Depot or other channels in store, Wayfair, whatever. I mean, that's part of their strategy is to stay diversified. So it's a very honest but very true comment, though. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's true. And we look at the end of the day, I believe, and this is in my book, right? Product manufacturers need to double down on what they're best at, and that is product. And what I mean is, that's what differentiates them. It's not the channel. The channel is an evolution of what's happening. It's becoming more digital. Amazon has grown because of that, and Amazon is a very viable channel for manufacturers. And I think they need to be there, but they need to be there in a way that brings their differentiation to life. That's why I'm more bearish on these roll-ups, because it's not the product they're focused on. They're focused on the channel. I think it's the wrong place to focus for a brand.
I think it was a great quote, by the way, that product brands should focus on their products, not the channel. They're commonsensical, but no, it's to the point. But let me pull you back a little bit, though. About a minute or two previous, you said that you think that these companies are overvalued. Do you mean the actual brand? So being rolled up at 3 or 4 EBITDA when you're only $1 million or $2 or $3 million and you're just selling on Amazon, that is just, it's too rich of a valuation for that type of a business?
I'm less offended by that as I am by the evaluation that the companies are raising money at, because I think, because, 10x EBITDA, when you're really just tying a bunch of non-differentiated brands together, or products together, I think is an overvaluation. Now, of course, my friend's going to come back and kill me when
yeah.
I'm not going to tell you who he is.
Debt is free right now, so that's how they get 10x.
There you go. That's right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, that is super. It's very interesting. But how you say it is exactly how they're doing it. I mean, you're 3 or 4x if you're 3 or 4 million, but if you're a couple billion, well, then you're 10x, or you're even bigger than that, right? And so that's the scale that they kind of add onto it. Yeah, it's super interesting, and it will be interesting to see what happens here. It's probably good for the smaller brands. Okay, there's an opportunity for them to exit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
no, I think it's great for the small brands. They should be selling their businesses. Look, you're in a business right now. You have an opportunity to exit. I don't think that opportunity is going to be there forever. Your business is going to become harder and harder if you're a small seller on Amazon. It's you got almost 1 billion products on Amazon. These niches are harder and harder to find. I think you got an exit opportunity. Take it.
For sure. And it's harder just because, you're the expert, but it's like just making profit, right? With some of these brands and the cost of advertising and just getting, glance views and visits and cool. Well, that is something for everybody to keep their eye on. And I think Thrasio was new to me like 4 months ago still. I mean, it's like, they're huge, and there's others out there, like you said, but not everybody's heard about these. So, yeah, good. Brian, let's move on to reviews. So reviews is something that, plagues everybody in the sense that, I'll kind of kick this off by saying, like, here's where I see reviews hurting. Number one, you can't really contact, or at least I'd love to be educated on this, but it's hard to contact the customers, to try to rectify situations now. I think Amazon's made that harder.
Yes.
Number two is that there is just undoubtedly fake reviews, especially when companies will come in with a competitive product to one that's already kicking butt on Amazon. All of a sudden, somehow magically, all these negative reviews will show up, maybe on your innovative product. And you're like, wait a minute, these can't be right. And there's really not a lot you can do about it. Again, hopefully I'm wrong on that point. But, those are things to talk about. But beyond that, just, basic review 101, how we can improve reviews. But why don't we start with the more controversial topics, which were the first two that I brought up, about kind of like fake reviews and inability to like contact customers. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's, I wish I had a silver bullet for you here, Luke. This is one of the most challenging issues in Amazon today, and Amazon's working to try to solve it in their own way. Not being able to contact customers, yes, that's a recent development, and that does make it more difficult. Kind of our approach on this is for our clients is twofold. One is to be as proactive as you can be with generating your own product reviews, and using Amazon's programs to help you do that. Your Vines of the world, early reviewer programs, etc. And then also make sure you're wherever you can, you're soliciting positive reviews. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Amazon also gives you tools, as I'm sure you're aware, to dispute reviews and things like that. But if they are fraudulent, it's overwhelming. I mean, for Amazon itself, right, where there's just so much of this kind of activity happening that, and they want to get a handle on it, but the intention is there. I think that you have to do everything you can within Amazon's ecosystem to work against the reviews that are fake. I think you got to do the best you can. Use every tool to solicit reviews that are positive. But quite frankly, my point of view is we will get there. Amazon will get closer to being there over the next couple of years, but it's going to take them a while. In the meantime, doing your best to solicit positive reviews is really all you can do in this ecosystem. I don't have a magic bullet for this. We've been fortunate with our clients that by working through channels, and the other issue, of course, you didn't raise is counterfeit product. Sometimes you get counterfeit product on your listing, and that there's back channel ways to solve that. I mean, we're going to, in our case, we go to Amazon. We have a lot of relationships at Amazon. We're going and working those relationships when these things pop up for our clients and doing our best to have them resolved behind the scenes. But even with advocates inside Amazon, it can be a challenge because Amazon has, a lot of people, over almost 1 million employees. And so, I wish I could out for your audience, Luke, I wish I could say, here's one thing you can do that'll clean it up completely, but there isn't a way to do it. It's kind of a little bit of whack-a-mole where you have to, consistently look to build your review content using every tool Amazon gives you, and work within Amazon's tools to try to remove negative reviews. So, and what are you seeing for your business, Luke? I mean, has this become an issue for you?
I think it's an issue for everybody. I've seen a lot of it where, because if you compare reviews on Amazon versus other platforms, a lot of times they're lower on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And, you could say, well, I don't know, Amazon customers are magically more picky. I don't know. I think every product's going to get negative reviews, right? But I'm talking about, like a half star drop compared to other platforms is pretty common to see. And then you put in and then also the way that the negative reviews are sometimes floated and voted to the top is bothersome. Like you're like, how did it get there? And how did it magically get all these votes? And then, and the amount of detail that's sometimes put into the review is a little bit skeptical. And they're hard, you can try to dispute them, but like you said, it's like going to a black hole. So we're seeing that. And the other thing is like, to your point on Vine, we definitely are investing in it. We haven't done it with every SKU, but I don't know, maybe that should become part of a typical product SKU launch. Have you guys gone that far? Because it can get expensive, but it's a great way to seed your product with reviews.
Yeah, it depends. Of course, it depends on your price points of your product. Becomes easier or harder. But yes, I think absolutely. I mean, we are recommending, at least for products that we're very bullish about. Meaning, when we look at our typical client has, they might have 200 to, in some cases, 2,000-3,000 SKUs we're bringing into Amazon, and we're looking at the top tier of those, the ones that sell well through other channels, and we're recommending Vine for those if they're new to Amazon. And we generally do make it a part, at least of the top tier product of the strategy to go to market. And yes, it can get expensive, but at the end of the day, as reviews are gold, and you want to generate as many as you can. The other thing it's interesting, Luke, I'm seeing is Amazon. We open up a lot of Amazon accounts for our clients, as we roll new companies into Amazon, and they're becoming very strict about the opening process, meaning that they're now requiring, utility bills from people that want to open new accounts. We had one client, which shall remain unnamed. We couldn't get an account open. Why? They're a subsidiary of a large global company, because they couldn't verify their address. They're based in China. They couldn't verify their address in a way that satisfied Amazon. We could not get an Amazon account open. So Amazon is making it very, they're trying to do what they can to eliminate, bad actors or folks who may be doing some of that, negative review stuff. It's a big challenge for Amazon, quite frankly, because it challenges their overall credibility in the market, I believe, as these negative reviews become more and more prominent. Yep.
I think that was a good bit of advice though, for everybody listening. Hey, over here, we have kind of formulated a product launch strategy. And it's just good for the marketing team, right? Everybody's on board. They know exactly what to do. And for the most part, for top products, we'll use Vine, but it's so hard to not use it when you frame it in the reference that how important reviews are in the first place. So if you don't use it, you're stuck with little or no reviews, and then you're just having to sell and wait. So it's kind of becoming part of the marketing cost, I guess, on launch.
Just to add a little bit onto that, Luke, the other thing we're seeing some of our clients do, and this, if you have some of the listeners here, if you have multiple channels, say, for example, you have your own e-commerce and then you're also launching on Amazon. One of the things we're seeing our clients do is and we're encouraging them to test, is to actually send digital marketing traffic into Amazon from outside of Amazon. So from Facebook, Instagram, Google, email. And it sounds crazy, right? When we propose that to a client, they say, well, what the heck would I do that for? I don't make as much money as I do on my own site, right? Well, that's true. However, if you kickstart Amazon, you got to think about Amazon as a search engine, and and you need to optimize your search positioning in Amazon to drive revenue. Well, if you're kickstarting your revenue and your volumes by sending traffic into Amazon, number one, that traffic's going to convert better than it does on your own site. Amazon's conversion rate is on average is 35%. For Prime users, it's 74%. It's crazy. So you're more likely to convert. That traffic is going to generate sales for you at a good return on investment, most likely. And Amazon gives you tools to track it. And then you don't have to do that forever. You do it to kickstart your marketing, kickstart your position on Amazon. Then you can back off of it. So you do it for 3 or 6 months. It's just a trend I'm seeing, Luke. You think about launch strategy that our clients are employing to really raise their visibility on keywords on Amazon. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. And let me dig into that a little bit. That's super interesting. So we have the choice to use Amazon's own platform, AMS or whatever they're calling it nowadays. Yeah. Would one use a Facebook or Google or any of the social channels and drive traffic because it's less expensive than in their category than buying traffic on AMS? I mean, is there a particular reason, or is it even better because it's a signal from outside coming in that might help your ranking better than using Amazon's own marketing platform?
We don't see it as a cost equation so much as a incremental traffic equation. Really what you're trying to do is lift your visibility. Amazon, there's a lot of things that go into Amazon's algorithms, which I can tell you what those all are, but just like Google, they don't reveal these things. Yeah. What is but we do know that, things like the number of reviews, the velocity of the product, the amount of attention it's getting, all those things, your own ratings as a seller, all those things go into your search visibility on Amazon. And so when you think about the world of, traffic, we've got a lot of traffic on Amazon today, but you have traffic that's not on Amazon today. And a lot of that is going to Google, or if you have your own captive audience on email, or through other channels, Facebook, Instagram, that traffic's there, not on Amazon. And so it's an incremental way, is the way we look at it, to drive more traffic for a period of time. And to boost your overall presence. I mean, Amazon is an ecosystem, and in some ways a closed ecosystem, and all these factors work together to give you more visibility. When you're just using AMS or Amazon advertising, you're limiting yourself to Amazon's traffic itself, which is not, by the way, is a lot of traffic.
There's plenty of it,
yeah. Right? But this is an incremental. And again, you were raising that marketing plan question. An incremental way for you to a tool in your quiver, or an arrow in your quiver to fire upon when you're first launching a new product in Amazon. So we just view it as incremental. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. It's a great option for people to have, especially if they've got that good digital marketing acumen or a good partner that they're working with for their own direct to consumer. Yep. A lot of companies they won't even have a chance at that. So I guess it's nice because it's maybe a competitive advantage, because a lot of brands still are not selling direct to consumer. So they're still not, they don't even have that real ability. They don't have a partner who's managing, ad spend for them already. So that's actually kind of another potential advantage for those that do have that ability to be able to do that. Cool. So let's quickly go over software, so brands that are doing this on their own, maybe they got an account manager, they're running their Amazon business. They're using the data that Amazon gives, which is great, inside, depending on the platform I'm more familiar with on the vendor side. What should they be using third party? What do you like? Yeah. Do you like, Jungle Scout or, Helium 10 or any of these other products?
Great question. So in our business, we both licensed and we've built our own tools to optimize, Amazon, to look for trends, competitive research, things like that. We've used, I think, every tool in the world in the course of our business. Yeah. And what I do a lot of, Luke, is the strategy, right? I'm looking at and helping companies research what's the size of the prize that they're attack Amazon. open up a channel there, and what are the kind of keywords, and what are the volumes the competitors are doing. So in the course of doing that and discovering opportunities, we use a couple different tools. I'd say Helium 10 is one that we use regularly. I like that tool. It has a lot of capabilities. We use it quite a bit for understanding the landscape, understanding estimated revenue, volumes of products, looking at relative competitive position, things like that. So we find Helium 10 to be useful. Their extension is quite useful. That shows Chrome extension. It shows show you revenue on a specific product, things like that. We've worked with and used a number of tools around search, and that's one of the hardest things to estimate is the amount of search keywords get on Amazon. I don't know of any tools that really do it very accurately, to be honest. If you have some ideas, I'd love to know them.
I'll just use Google and guess, right? You can kind of use those accounts. I know it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be there's a different cohort on Amazon, but you're absolutely right. You kind of have to do some guesstimate, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we have some tools we've used. We've done some internal things. Ultimately, we know that the search volume on Amazon is 3x what it is on Google for product, right? So we have a good sense. So you can triangulate into some numbers, and we use some tools that give us some directional estimates. But it's funny, Luke. I talk to Amazon all the time, several times a week, and sometimes we'll ask the folks because they can see their search term, search volumes. No one else can.
Yep.
And I'll say, hey, I'm seeing this search on this term. And they're like, yeah, it's totally off.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you're totally wrong. It's nowhere close to that. And occasionally I get real numbers. I'm like, oh wow, yeah. And the thing is, there's no real correlation, right? So anyway, I think the search volume piece is a little more challenging. There's a couple of tools that do it, and I think give you directional data, but you have to be careful with it.
Yeah. And really, to get the most out of your ad spend, you really got to work with a partner, from my experience. I mean, this is once you're spending a certain amount of dollars per month, it's just totally worth working with somebody who's an expert at it, and they've got their own tools, and they actually kind of have their own scale. Better than what a brand trying to do it themselves would be able to get to, unless the brand itself then got to a certain higher level, and then was able to hire in the right team. But I don't know, Brian, you kind of agree with that?
I do. Look, at the end of the day, Amazon has become just like Google, and I've managed Google AdWords campaigns since 1999, or whenever they introduced AdWords. It was, it's a very similar model these days, both from a paid search and even from an SEO or search engine optimization, natural search standpoint. This is a data intensive business, optimizing for search on Amazon. You need highly technical, data oriented people and software tools to help you if you're going to do it at any scale at all. And so, it's a skill set that doesn't typically reside at, at least the companies we work with. Going outside for that skill set is a good idea. I think probably, you could hire it in-house if your program gets big enough, but there's a lot of folks out there that'll do it for you with the right tools and technologies, including our company in SIBA. And that's one thing that I think a lot of companies will continue to outsource for a long time, just because it's a very technical skill set.
Yeah, and it's really, really hard to hire the highest level of talent and expertise. A lot of them are already working for agencies. They went and started their own agency. It's just since it's a newer business, it's really hard to find kind of those individuals. So good. All good angles there. Brian, why don't we talk about a story or two here? I mean, people always love hearing actual numbers. And so I thought it could be kind of fun to, go start to finish on a story of a brand that you worked with and kind of where they started and how you helped them, what you had to do.
Yeah.
Let's walk through that.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll tell the story of a brand we started working with, 3.5-4 years ago. This company is a high-end, and that's important because Amazon traditionally has not been known for high-end product, right? A high-end producer of planning books, printed products, stuff that's used by teachers and busy moms, and it's oriented towards female consumer. About an $80 million company, well-known brand in their space, only about 15, maybe 20 years old, and very successful. The woman who founded it was trying to solve some problems for her customer. Both it was a balance between having something beautiful and inspiring that they could plan their day and life with just the organizational aspects of running a family and running a classroom and those sorts of things. So this company had its own e-commerce, and they had been selling to Amazon 1P for some time, for a couple of years. Had a lot of challenges 1P. We started with them, as I mentioned, about 3.5 years ago, and they didn't have any control over Amazon. They had a bunch of companies they didn't know selling their products. They had a 1P business, and Amazon kept dropping their retail price and causing channel conflict. So they were in a world of hurt. Amazon, they get calls from their retailers saying, this product is being sold below my cost on Amazon. How is this happening? So they were in pain, and this was a company that knew, though, that Amazon was a real channel for them. They just didn't know how to control it. They didn't know how to grow it, control it, or anything. They didn't have the internal people really doing it. So,
and Brian, so at that point, so this is right before they came to you. They are selling to other channels. Are they selling maybe in store and online to these other channels? And what portion of their business was Amazon at that point in time?
Oh gosh, it was $80 million business. It was it was less. It was a little more than 1%.
Oh, just tiny, right? Little tiny percentage causing a huge problem.
Yeah, exactly. It was less. It was about $1 million, I think, $1 million, something like that. And they, and the problem was for them was that Amazon is extraordinarily visible, meaning that when a new retailer would come to them and say, "Hey, I want to buy your product wholesale and put it in my stores," they would go on Amazon and say, "Oh, well, you just quoted me. I'm going to buy this from you for this, but I see Amazon's I got like a 10% markup here. I can't make any money on your product. I'm not going to buy your product." So they were having trouble getting new retailers to open doors for them. They had existing retailers because they sold to retail, and they also sold on their own e-commerce site, by the way, still do. And Amazon was just a pain point for them. It was a small percentage of their business, and that was causing them more pain than it was benefit. So, they were on the verge of shutting it down completely, or figuring out, they wanted to figure out how to capture it, because they knew they could see competitors, on the channel, and they knew they were doing volumes on Amazon. Just didn't know how they were doing it, right? What was involved. So that's where we were when we started with them. And I can keep going, Luke.
Yeah, no,
tell the rest of the story.
Yeah, no. I'd love to hear it. So this is a common thing. Everybody's heard this who sold on Amazon 1P. Everybody, I guarantee everybody's heard this. Yes. If they're selling to Amazon and if they're selling to someone else, they've always gotten those phone calls from the other buyers saying, "Guys, you must be giving Amazon a better price," or something like that. And then, your reply is, "No, Amazon's just losing money on it." And then it's back and forth, right. and it's a big problem. Okay. So about $1 million, just a very small account. And then tell us kind of, what you guys did. It sounded like you move them to Seller Central. Beyond that, what was the strategy and how was the growth?
Yeah. So there were a whole slew of things happening there that we helped. Number one, we helped them with a strategy, right? We said, okay, let's figure out what's going on here. Who are these resellers? Turns out, there were dozens of them. They didn't know who most of them were. Who are, and how do you sort of gain control of it? And what is the opportunity if they did? So we started by looking first at the opportunity. We determined that there was a sizable, amount of volume they could potentially capture on the channel if they gained control of it. So we identified the resellers. And again, a lot of these were, very, very small, opportunistic folks, which is fine. But ultimately, they wanted to control their brand and their price. And Amazon itself was the chief violator of their MAP, or minimum advertised price policy. So that was the one causing the challenges. So we first helped them map it out. Then we engaged to execute a program. And the program was, we're going to shift them from 1P to 3P. We're going to help them gain control of the channel, with the resale policy. So they put in place a internet retail policy and distribution agreement with their channels. And we helped them also. Their content was pretty awful on Amazon. This is a high-end brand. I mean, Luke, these guys are charging $40, $50 for planners and notebooks and things. You can buy a notebook on Amazon for $2. This is a differentiated product, right? It's something that's very unique and appeals to their customer. And that product story and brand story needs to be represented. So we built out, enhanced brand content, storefront. We took their content up, very substantially in terms of benefits, descriptions, many photos, videos, and really just enhanced the whole appearance. We made sure everything was Prime eligible using FBA. We shifted them from 1P to 3P. We launched them now in 4 international markets on Amazon. They just have had tremendous success. They're not only getting now significantly more revenue, so they went from this year we'll do about $7 million in revenue.
That's a
after
big jump.
3.5 years. Yeah, from 1 million to 7, pretty good, and 2.5 times operating profit. Right, that's also critical. Right. Well, you think about it. Let's take a $40 planning book, right? They were selling that to Amazon for $20, right? Wholesale price. Today they're getting the full retail, of course, less the commission Amazon takes, but they're getting significantly higher profit net. I'm talking about net. Yep. After advertising, after resourcing, after product cost, after fulfillment cost, FBA, and cost of goods, 2.5 times more profit at 7 times the revenue. They're thrilled. So that's I think one of the best stories of success. But it took getting control of the channel and making some moves to change the selling strategy.
Well, that's a good story to end on, and I'm sure it also probably helped their other channels because they're able to hold their price, with their strategy of FBA and on the seller side, but get a lot more exposure. So everybody, obviously, like you noted a couple times, Amazon's a huge marketing engine. So yeah, I'm sure they got benefits all the way around for the company. And then just brand image, like you said, you guys could, improve the detail on the product detail. So yeah, cool story, Brian. Really appreciate you coming on again. How can listeners learn more about you and pitch that book again?
Sure, Luke. Thank you. Right. 2 ways. So 2 things to mention there. One, the book. Yeah, absolutely. It's called $Billion Dollar B2B Ecommerce. If you put a .com at the end, you go to the website, and there you can find out more information. Click through for a link to go to Amazon to buy it, of course. By the way, Luke, these are printed on demand at Amazon. It's incredible.
That is cool. That is cool.
This is a 400-page book. You order it today, you'll have it in 2 to 3 days, and it's printed for you. It's incredible.
Yeah,
all over the world, not even in just the U.S., UK, Asia, all over the world, you can find the book. It's printed on demand. It's amazing. So that's one way to reach me. The other way is to reach out to me via email. My SIBA email is Brian, BRIAN @NCEBA, ENCEI, B as in boy, A.com, Brian @NCEBA.com. Send me a note. I'd love to hear from you, whether it's about your e-commerce strategy in general or, Amazon. Love to talk to you.
Well, thanks again, Brian. Of course, you guys can find Brian on LinkedIn as well. And we'll have all this information in the show notes. And also want to thank everybody for listening today. Hope you guys will be back for the next episode.
Thanks, Luke.